You gotta own the light if you want to own the night. New lights from LA Gear.
Prepare to attack.
Prepare to attack!
On the count of 3. 1, 2, late!
What happened? Where are they? I don't know, sir. They must have hyperjets on that thing.
And what do we got on this thing? A Cuisinart?
No, sir.
The event is the official launch in Tokyo for the Cardano protocol, which is where the Cardano protocol initiated itself just over 2 years ago. The funding of the project began in Tokyo, and 95% of the funding took place in Tokyo and Osaka in Japan. So it's very correct that we return to the birthplace of Cardano, which is in Tokyo itself, and launch the event in its birthplace. We've got 10,000 token buyers, and that's stayed fairly static. We've had a bit of activity on the exchange, and our number of followers on the Cardano Stiftung have increased from just over 1,000 to just under 4,600 today, and it's increasing at roughly 100 followers every hour. Well, we have actually 4 staff here in Tokyo and Osaka, and they're like a branch of the foundation, and they spend their time looking after the community of both ADA buyers and also any developers that might emerge in the future. The foundation plans to do a number of events in London and in Zug, and we're also launching a new research program called Distributed Futures, and we're spending several $1 million on that, and we want to become a leading light in blockchain technology research and cryptocurrency research. Well, we're running 2 websites. We're running the Cardano Foundation website and also running the Cardano Hub in conjunction and collaboration with IOHK. And it's important that people recognize that the foundation is the source of the golden source. We carry the brand name and we collaborate with our other partners, but the foundation is the golden source for information about the protocol, the software, and any of the social activities going on there. We're very grateful to the Japanese community in supporting the Cardano protocol with finance, and also in waiting for almost 18 months to 2 years for the protocol to be developed. And there was a little bit of anxiety about that, but that's now been rectified because the protocol has been launched, it is successful, and we are building probably the best blockchain technology the world has ever seen so far.
We'll find them, catch them!
Yes, sir. Prepare ship for light speed.
No, light speed is too slow.
Light speed too slow?
Yes, we're gonna have to go right to ludicrous speed.
Ludicrous speed? Sir, we've never gone that fast before. I don't know if the ship can take us.
What's the matter, Colonel Sanders? Chicken?
Prepare ship! Prepare ship for ludicrous speed.
The simple metrics are that from originally 4 people, a staff of 4, we went to currently about 25, maybe 24. Wow. So that's factor 6 within 1 year. So that's one of the simplest metric to say that where have we come from and where have we come to. The other obvious metric will be number of community members, and that's more an art than a science of measuring community members. I would say it's we were something like 200,000 at the end of 2018, and we're now up to over 1 million. So that's a factor 5. And obviously, I need to share the responsibility, the blame, and the merit of all this. This is obviously a team effort, and team effort means this includes IOHK, the Cardano Foundation, Emergo, and then our fantastic community members and our fantastic ambassadors, which we have also, I think we were about 10 ambassadors end of 2018, and now are about 50. And so that's factor 5 in the ambassador ranking. And they have done a fantastic job, and they're a key part of the puzzle for our community management and outreach. So that's one thing. So that's the metrics. That's one thing we did. The second thing we did is boring and less fun, is just clean up and fix stuff that's broken. And there was quite a lot that was like either undone or not yet done or broken and needed fixing. We're almost there. There's always stuff that takes longer. Legal stuff, administrative stuff, when you talk with government, with legal processes. Nothing is done within a year, but we're really closing up a lot of these loose ends. And so that's the second thing. And the third thing, and then you have to stop me and ask more precise questions. The third thing is really building the rails for the future. So that's integration with financial institutions, the banks, the enemies, which is, not true. They're not the enemies. They're part of the infrastructure that we want to cooperate with and ultimately become a part of, which, and then maybe even replace. And so banks, wallet providers, payment services, payment gateways, there's a lot of stuff out there. There's a lot of projects, including other blockchain projects. So interoperability with other chains is also on top of our list. And what differentiates us from other projects is that we work with other projects in order to create that big pie that is now so small. We don't want to cut out a slice only, but we want to really grow that pie.
Fasten all seatbelts. Seal all entrances and exits. Close all shops in the mall. Cancel the three-ring circus. Secure all animals in the zoo.
Give me that, you petty excuse for an officer. Now hear this. Ludicrous speed.
Sir, hadn't you better buckle up?
Now buckle this. Ludicrous speed. Go!
In addition to founding IOHK and serving as its chief executive, you were a co-creator of Ethereum and you co-created Cardano, which is another blockchain project. So tell us what you're working on today at IOHK.
So IOHK is kind of a factory for cryptocurrencies and enterprise blockchain technology. So we're both a research company and an engineering company. On the research side, we engage directly with universities like Tokyo Tech and University of Edinburgh, and we write peer-reviewed research papers. So we have graduate students, postdocs, professors. We've written now more than 40 papers, more than 20 have gone through peer review, and those papers cover everything from privacy, like zero-knowledge proofs and multi-party computation, to consensus protocols, to softer topics like law and policy. On the engineering side, we extract from those papers protocols. So those are things like Cardano, or enterprise projects like tracking traceability in the coffee market in Ethiopia, or trying to figure out better ways to handle foundational topics like digital identity, for example.
Where is your research being applied?
So on the research side, it's pretty global and broad, and it's usually applied towards particular product lines. On the enterprise side, we're mostly Pan-African in focus. So we have offices, for example, in Ethiopia. We have some people we partner with, like Crypto Savannah in Uganda. We've had a lot of great conversations with companies like Inlu down in South Africa. And usually those projects are 3 to 7 year time horizon projects where we enter the jurisdiction, we train an entire cohort of developers, and then from that cohort, we then go do pilots in the 6 month to 2 year time horizon, and then we turn those pilots over into commercializable technology through a public-private partnership. So for example, that can be something as exotic as saying on that cup of coffee you get from Starbucks, at some point in the future it'll have a QR code on the side and you can scan it and know where that coffee bean came from that made the coffee, to something like, does the person actually have a real college degree from a real university, and being able to verify that credential using some sort of blockchain backend. That's kind of the scope of those types of projects.
What have I done?
The South Koreans, government officials, they've been quite vocal about cryptocurrencies. In fact, the big boss of South Korea's central bank said cryptocurrencies aren't a legal currency. Has that been part of the reason?
I think so. I mean, people get spooked when governments talk about banning things, but there's been 2 bannings before. One was the South Korea, one was the Thai government, and the Russian government. They talk about banning it, and now they're not banning it. So when they say ban, I think they mean regulate.
Ah. So, and that's always been the question around cryptocurrencies, right? Yes. Is it going to be, will they regulate, won't they regulate? What do you think? Should it be?
I think they should be. That there are 2 schools of thought. People think it should be, people think it shouldn't be. I'm not sitting on the fence, I'm actually in the middle,
okay.
as are many people that I know. And what I mean by being in the middle, I think there's a balance between privacy personal privacy and regulation. And we can't just have one or the other, we've got to have both.
So you're asking for some regulation?
Yes, if we had some regulation, then the currencies would be more acceptable to the masses at large.
I was going to say, it'd make it more,
some safety,
with some regulation, it would make it more mainstream.
Yes, and also the exchanges are not entirely regulated. Some of them are, some of them are not. And we had the issue with Mt. Gox 3 or 4 years ago, entirely unregulated, and nearly brought down the whole ecosystem of Bitcoin.
Yeah, but now we know, but it's in Chicago on two of those those trading platforms.
But more and more exchanges are becoming regulated. So Bitstamp is one of the major exchanges which is regulated in Luxembourg, and other exchanges are looking towards regulation and applying full KYC for their customers, which gives you some assurance. Would you put your money with a bank that wasn't regulated? You wouldn't.
No.
So why would you put your money in an exchange that wasn't regulated to buy cryptocurrency? You wouldn't. We do need regulation for exchanges.
Do you get a lot of people asking you, how does it get its value? And how do you explain it in very simple terms and briefly?
Well, I think it gets its value because of its use case and the underlying network. So in Bitcoin's case, you've got tens of thousands of people mining and validating the transactions and creating new Bitcoins. That isn't the case with other forms of private money that was done in the past. And you've got Ethereum, which has got massive amounts of use cases. So all the recent ICOs you've seen are based on the ERC20 tokens on Ethereum. So massive amount of traction in those two currencies. And the other ones coming on stream as well, such as Monero and Cardano.
There's a ton of them, isn't there? Yeah, a ton of them.
Yes.
And a lot of them.
My brains are going into my feet! Oh.
Hell was that? Spaceball 1. They've gone to plaid.
Cardano is basically an aggregation of a bunch of protocols that together act as our best bet for what a third generation cryptocurrency needs to look like. So what is a third generation cryptocurrency? It's basically a cryptocurrency that can do all the things that we love with Ethereum and Bitcoin, but at a scale of billions of people. A cryptocurrency that's capable of talking to many other cryptocurrencies and legacy financial systems, and a cryptocurrency that's able to sustain itself, meaning it can pay for its development long term, and also there's some sort of methodology to decide how a cryptocurrency needs to upgrade. So basically, Cardano's our best vision of how to achieve scalability, interoperability, and sustainability while preserving all the features that people have come to know and love with Ethereum and Bitcoin, and then extending those features to new and even better experiences.
We passed them! Stop this thing!
We can't stop. It's too dangerous. We've got to slow down first.
Bullshit! Just stop this thing! I order you! Stop!
Here, sir. Here. Let me help you, sir.
Are you all right, sir?
Fine. How have you been?
Fine, sir.
Good.
It's a good thing you were wearing that helmet.
Yeah.
What shall we do now, sir?
Well, are we stopped?
We're stopped, sir.
Good. Well, why don't we take a 5-minute break?
Very good, sir.
Smoke if you got 'em.
This was a heck of a lot of fun. I'll talk to you soon. Cheers.